Hey guys, welcome once again. Good afternoon. I'm Freddie York here with Let 'Em Run and my partner, Johnny Costin here together today to talk a little bit about the last five races. We're not going to call it the late pick five, but that's something that is involved in these last five races here at Aqueduct today. But we're going to call it kind of what our new show, our new brand, our new image we're going to be talking about. Now, Let 'Em Run Roundup. We're just going to go through races, talk about who we like, talk about why we like him, John. And I think you indicated, you said you kind of like this format, John.
Yeah, I do. I like to just, put the information out there. I gather information from many different sources. I write down the stuff that I believe in, that I like, and the other stuff, I don't put too much, faith in. And I got to still make my own decisions on how I structure tickets, what pools, what bets I'm going to get involved in, doubles, pick threes, pick fives. So depending on what the sequence is, after I gather all the information, we're just another platform that can, provide insight on different horses and what our thoughts are. And it's still up to the person to put that magic ticket structure together that fits their budget. Pick five is not for everybody, so those budgets seem to be a little higher. And if you're strapped to putting a pick five together for a very small budget, most likely you're not going to be in line for those $1,000, couple $1,000
Sure.
scores, just for
Right.
ticket construction purposes, unless you get lucky with a couple singles and the right all button. Then you might back into one. But when you got a small ticket for budget purposes, it's really tough for the smaller player to play pick fives. And we'll focus in on this new format of giving different structure, smaller bets that they can expand upon.
Yeah, I agree. And I think what you touched based on, I think, is one of the more critical elements of the handicapping and people who bet on it is your budget. What's your budget? Where do you want to put your most money to have the most value or the most opportunity, where you feel most comfortable? Or, as we always talk about, where you have the strongest opinion in a race, and build your tickets around that opinion you have and the budget you have around that opinion you have, that horse or that sequence, whatever you're looking at. I think that's the key thing that we all learn as handicappers. You hear it all the time. A lot of people, handicap great, didn't bet so good. So,
That's me. My number one fault.
Well, you're number one among many, John, as far as everybody does. If you've been around enough horse players, John, and you have, that they're going to talk a lot about I handicapped the heck out of this card, but I didn't bet it very well, especially the old Monday morning quarterback or Monday morning jockey, whatever you want to call it, what we call it, horse racing. After the fact, you look at it and check it out. But I wouldn't be remiss. I want to just take a minute here, and we have some thoughts and prayers going out to a couple of jockeys who were significant, especially particularly Dylan Davis and Sahin Savachi had injuries. Dylan Davis injuries appear to be more involved, and so we want to send prayers out to him and his family, and hope that Dylan Davis, one of the more popular riders, certainly one of the more amicable riders too. I know myself and Jimmy Mayer were up in Saratoga, where they get to walk through the crowd, and if you have opportunity to say hi, took pictures with us, talked to us. We mentioned our buddy Tommy T had his horse, and he rode his horse several times, Carson's Run. He talked about it. He said, Dylan Davis said he loved that horse. So prayers out to both those guys, Dylan Davis and Sahin Savachi, John.
Yep. We're always thinking about them. And every day these, great athletes, the horses and the jockeys go out there and, every single day risk their life, for their own enjoyment, for our enjoyment. So, hats off to them for doing it every day in and day out, knowing what could happen at any time. All the best to them. We're thinking about them.
Yeah, absolutely, John. Well said. And speaking of horses, John, I know today you were down at Parks checking out J.K. Strong. How did she look today, John? What's happening?
Yeah, they're trying different things with her, and hopefully this was our final workout. I think we're going to be entering in about 10 days, right before Thanksgiving.
Wow, great.
There's a maiden special weight, going a mile. Might be a little long her first time, but trying different things. Today we did a tongue tie. And then actually during the workout, tried to really hold her back early on, and then let her finish up down the lane, a lot stronger than she did the last time when she got, really tired. So we're trying those methods out. We don't want to put the blinkers on yet, but, eventually the blinkers could be, the answer. She was hit for the first time with the crop today, and really
Okay.
surprised her and didn't like it. Pinned her ears back and almost looked back at the jock Jan and said, like, "What the hell are you doing?" So she got a little uptight about that, and she still worked out about 49 and 1,
Oh,
which
nice.
was 23rd best out of like 60 workouts. So
Nice.
the upper
Nice.
echelon of the works. The track was so deep and heavy, and they were going in the 50s, 50 and 1, 51, 52,
Wow.
and our 49 and 1, pretty good work, all considering how heavy that track is. So, we're happy with the progression, and just wait and see what kind of race she draws into, and how she performs, and hopefully not tires.
All right, good stuff, John. I look forward to seeing her race as well. Please keep us posted on that, and best of luck, and look forward to seeing JK Strong hit the track. All right, John, let's kick it off here. We'll go ahead and get into the last 5 races at Aqueduct. John, once you get us started.
Okay, it starts out with a state bred allowance, non-winners of one other than on the grass, 6 furlong crapshoot here. And it basically is a wide open race. I couldn't really narrow down on anybody. So in future, my own personal, I'm gonna hit the all button here for the pick 5 for sure. But if I do like anybody, it would be towards the outside. Kendrick Carmouche, one last knock. Is he going to get a good trip from out there? He has the speed to maybe tuck in, be the outside speed. So hopefully he doesn't get strung too wide and can work out a trip from out there. But I would lean towards him. But from the 10 hole as the favorite, it's definitely beatable. Other ones I could use in here is the one raced against Open Company. Should get a perfect trip this time, sitting inside, maybe sitting second. Does have the speed to lead it if she breaks out like a rocket. So that's another one I would consider. Alpine Giant is another one that could be on the lead, that Jeremiah Engelhart. But really, if anybody, I would lean towards the 10, include the the 1, 3, 5, and 8 with it, but no strong opinion here at all. Just wide open turf sprint to start off the late 5 races at Aqueduct.
Yeah, I'm leaning in this race. I kind of like the 5 long-legged queen. Savachi was on that horse. Hot jockey who's been riding pretty well and looks like it could be getting better as Rodriguez got named to ride this horse. Last time out, closed at 6 furlongs strong, but just barely won one by a head. But that was a good run by that horse last time out, and I think there's enough speed in here. Could have a chance to run down the field again, because there is, as you mentioned, there are a couple horses in here looking to get out. I also don't want to leave out. I don't know how. I mean, for me, it'd be tough to leave out the number 9, Willful Mama with Flavian Pratt on at 6-1. I don't think we're going to see him getting too much 6-1. Michael Maker trained this horse. Took a long time to break her maiden. When she did break her maiden, it was a little bit longer at a mile, and put up decent fractions at that distance, and perhaps shortening up, maybe able to get a little tighter. Pratt rode her to that victory at the maiden when she broke her maiden back in Saratoga in August, and Pratt's back on the horse again, has a decent post out there to look. So I think that's another horse. And again, if you're gonna, as you mentioned in the pick 5, hit the all button, because it is a scramble, it is a wide open race, that certainly wouldn't be a bad choice for you to get there. And then you mentioned number 10, one last knock, Kendrick Carmouche, tough post, but good, got enough speed. I don't think he's going to get stranded out there, but a little bit of a tough post. But there is one scratch that put that horse a little closer in the 9 hole. So perhaps that might be an opportunity to give that horse a chance. So, okay, let's go to 7th race now, John, a 1 3/8 marathon on inner turf. Jockey Club's Oaks for fillies, a grade 3 race worth $350,000. Got 350,000. Yeah. So, you have some serious names in here that we all have heard before. Fionn, the number 4, being ridden by Flavian Pratt, probably the class of the field. I mean, boy, just ran in some serious races against Lush. Nitrogen it was involved. So this horse has been with some classy horses. Definitely a horse you got to keep on your ticket. Obviously, the number 7, Laurelin. I'm kind of leaning a little heavier on that horse. I just think that horse is ready to go. And second off the layoff, you're getting Kendrick Carmouche on again, who knows the horse very well. Graham Motion, one of the better trainers. I mean, they're all very good trainers. Graham Motion, great turf trainer. When he gets a horse going in the right direction, as this horse has been getting better and better, I think this horse has a big chance. So that's kind of the horse. I mean, I'm leaning on the 7 pretty strongly. We went over this race yesterday on the happy hour, John. But what other thoughts you have here, John?
Yeah, I'm going to lean on the 7 as well. Even though she finished second last time, it was a great race. She just got out-tripped by Lush Lips, who ran the best race of her life, just ran her eyeballs out and freaked. And Laura Lynn, couldn't catch her, but was gaining on her at the end. So I think the extra distance would not be a problem. She's going to be forwardly placed, of any of this, speed. She'll get first jump on them. Fiona, I think, might be too far back again, too much to do. And if Laura Lynn gets in front of her, I think, she'll be able to hold Fiona at bay. She'll get the jump on her. But all these other, late developing 3-year-olds, we talked yesterday in depth. If you want to check that out, check out yesterday's podcast. But, Scythian from the rail, Belmont, was blocked last time and, galloped out way in front. Wanna open grade 2, before, even though it is New York State bred, should get a nice trip. Having a good time. The 2 will become flying. Pick up minor awards, 2nd, 3rd, National Archive, 1 of 2 in here for Miguel Clement, versatile type who could sit a nice trip. Fiona, multiple, grade 1 winner. Evershed could turn the tables on Laura Lynn. Maybe that would be the one that, would be getting a good trip to maybe get the jump on Laura Lynn. And the other 2, Don't Jinx It, Miguel's other horse, who will be the speed, maybe setting it up for the 3. And the 8, getting better every start, late developing for McPeak and Elliott. So you can make a case for everybody, but I'm going to lean heavily on the 7, because if I don't lean heavily on somebody, it's almost another all race.
Yeah, I agree. I think that 7. I think the 4 and the 7 are both classy. I think the 7 just might be sitting on a big race. I think Graham Motion has been pointing to this race, and I think that horse is going to be ready. But I agree with that.
All right, we'll kick off race 8 here. 2 big scratches, now down to a field of 6. And the 2 scratches happen to be the 2 horses I thought had the best chance of beating the 2, Longpour. Longpour, ran, great trips last time, but she just couldn't go by those horses. A little disappointing that she couldn't get by. But if you look at those horses, Man in Finance and National Identity came back to win again after that. Man in Finance didn't run again, but neither one of those horses would be 3-5, 2-5 in this spot against this field. So, did he run into good horses there better than him, and now he's got a field that he can handle? Or is he just not good enough to go by somebody in the stretch? That's the question. I'm willing to say that, he ran into better animals there. He should sit a good trip if he has to be on the lead and, ridden aggressively by Santana, just like Saez did, 3 races back when he did win, even though it was a state-bred special weight. But there is a little bit of speed in here. The 3 is going to go. The 7 will probably show some speed. Maybe the 2 sits right off the 3 and gets first jump and able to pass a horse like this, not like last 2 races when they were just better animals. So I'm going to lean heavily on the 2 here in all my multis.
Yeah, I agree. I think the 2 clearly looks to be not quite the speed, but can track as well. But I think I like 2 horses in here a lot. I like the number 3, Roofer. Again, has kind of not finished the job last couple of times out, but 5 back here at Aqueduct broke his maiden, and pretty impressively put up a pretty big buyer speed figure. Has been regressing since then. So I'm hoping that with the fact that Ruben Silveira is getting back on this horse, he could probably find the race that they ran 5 back. If he gets a clear lead, could continue to go. Again, I don't think the Longpour is going to let him do that. But the other horse that became a little more interesting, and again, the unfortunate injury to Sahin Savachi created a jockey change on the number 4, 3Bs. This horse, trained by Linda Rice, now has Jose Lescano on this horse. And Jose Lescano has been on this horse several times, knows the horse well. And also, this horse is one of the few horses who has won 3 times at Aqueduct. So clearly this horse is your horse for course, if you want to use that. Every other horse has only won 1 time at Aqueduct. And this is an N1X race, but obviously can create situations where horses have more than 1 win. And this horse has 4 wins. again, a little bit tricky in terms of perhaps getting the opportunity to close, but I would think Lescano being on the horse gives that horse an edge for me, and I like the price at 5-1. So I'm going to lean on that horse there, the 4-horse 3Bs. So that's race 8, John. Let's go ahead and tackle race 9. It is the Knickerbocker on the outer turf, 1 mile and an eighth, the $150,000 race. This race set up with a nice field of 9. 8, the only scratch was the main track only, so it's a nice field of 8 in here. A big race, a long route race. I'm kind of leaning on the number 3, Tricari, Johnny Velasquez. This horse has ran a couple nice races the last couple times out, just wasn't able to finish the job, but also ran against some pretty, and we all know what happened with Wolfie's Dynagos, Fort Washington, Carl Spackler, Brilliant Bertie, ran against some pretty good runners. I don't think you're going to see horses of that caliber in this race, and Johnny V knows the horse very well. Again, for Grand Motion, one of my favorite trainers, who's probably going to have this horse ready to go second off the layoff. So that's one of the horses I'm looking at, and the other horse I really like, and John, you should like this horse too, because I know there's some downside because the horse was bought for like 1.7 million, and now he's running in a race like this, but the jockey and trainer Hernandez and the trainer, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name, Pagatos Smethius, they win a lot of races together. In the last 14 days, the last 60 days, I'm sorry, he's given him 12 mounts. He's won 42% of those mounts. And John, one of your favorite angles, this was big closer, kept going, as you mentioned, and the other horse that you liked in the previous race, ran on well past in the gallop out. This horse getting blinkers on, and the blinkers were probably on for those workouts that this horse finished after his last race in September. His last workout was August 29th. Then he worked out on the 18th, put up a 47 furlong, best of 44 runners. A nice little workout on the 2nd, and then also an even better workout on the 9th. So I think the horse getting blinkers on and at a price of 8-1 is definitely worth putting in. The class of the field is obviously going to be the number 4, Ohana's Honor, but that horse clearly is the class of the field, but shortening up a little bit compared to the last couple of races this horse has had. But that's my take on it, John.
Yeah, I could see, both things you said about the 3 and the 6, everything I would, ditto that. The only thing is number 3, I would add, let's see, that last race, a little disappointing. It was just one pace. He had no kick, just, ran around there. But that was his first time back, from the summer. So was that just a prep? I got in my notes here, if that was just a prep, he did what he was supposed to do. And he was pointing for this spot, all the time, cutting back a little bit in distance here, which I like. Ran with, all the ones you said there, all great, horses. So definitely a big shot there with Johnny V and Grand Motion. Signature, the 1.7, claimed it for 100,000. And the workouts in the blinkers, I love that. Air Recruit, the 7 has a shot here with Arnaud Delacour. Got in a lot of traffic last time in the mint millions at Kentucky Downs, the last half of the race. So he really never got a chance to run. You don't know if he is this level or not. So maybe give him another shot. And the 8, I would give another look to Naptown on the outside. He was the only one closing in that race. I mean, it was just like a merry-go-round race, and anybody from the back stayed there. The leaders went in round 1, 2, and he was the only horse that closed. They went really slow on the front end. The race prior to that was a very wide run. He was wide, the whole, way around the turn. Prior to that, he ran into Notable Speech, Breeders' Cup champion. Prior to that, he wins 2 in a row. So he had excuses in his last 2, Notable Speech. So another one at 8-1 that you could consider. But it is the number 4, Ohana Honors, race to lose. He's supposed to win in this spot. The race fell apart last time for the win end, but he hung around there and had a good account of himself there last time. Race prior, he ran into Lagnos, who just freaked at Kentucky Downs there, and sent 104 buyer that day for Lagnos, and they set the track record by 2/5 of a second, and he was closing there, and got second behind that that freak. So in the company that he's been against, and this trip, 1.1 miles, he should, turning back a little bit, should be able to win this race. But like I mentioned, the 4 or 5 that we also mentioned also, have a little bit of a look. So I'm going to lean again on Ohana Honor with sprinkling in a little bit of those other 5 horses.
Yeah, just a note, the jockey change on the 7, Air Recruit. Obviously, Dylan Davis is off all his mounts. They picked up Kendrick Caramouche for that horse, and I think that's a plus too. Not that obviously a healthy Dylan Davis would certainly be nothing to turn your head away against, but they put Kendrick Caramouche on, and I think that's a good pickup mount for Kendrick Caramouche. So check that out. He's 3-1 morning line, and I think he's going to be right there with Ohana Honor at the end.
All right, move on to the last race.
Next.
All right, race 10 ends it with a maiden special weight, open company maiden special weight here, a mile and a 16th. At least it's not a New York State bred, sprint to end the day. So now we got an open company, some pretty good, turf breeds, turf horses, well met in this field. So horse that I'm, going to hang my hat on is now from the 10 hole, which is number 12, Isadora Duncan, Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt, second-time starter. And, Pratt and Brown, you don't have to say anything there. This is the full brother to Opulent Restraint. Opulent Restraint is the one that runs, on the front end against Laura Lynn and Fiona. He's in that company there where he's running, not running today, but he holds his own against them horses. So this is a full brother to him. So this distance, should be no problem at all. And last race, if you watch, he was a green horse. That last, went around, and the only horse he didn't pass was Chad Brown's other horse, who was very well met in that spot, Blue Madam. So Chad was the last time. And what I like about this one is that if you see the workout pattern, he kept this horse in Saratoga the whole entire fall. The good ones he'll keep at Saratoga. Other ones you'll see him ship down to, Churchill or Gulfstream or, even Monmouth, for, working out. But he kept that one up in Saratoga until this race, this spot was picked out. So I'm going to lean heavy on him and 4-1 morning line. Hopefully get, 8-5 or so on him. The only other horse I really liked in there was Miguel Clement's horse, Abigail. But with the scratch of that one, that makes me, single. Other ones I could throw in the mix. Number 1, Miss Brunel's should get a nice trip on the rail and, run around there with a good trip. The 6, the 8, and the 9 all show they can, run. And if they run their best race, but number 9, Delightful Darling, running out of chances. Been the favorite 4 times, disappointed 4 times. Ran with Quiet Street and Belarus and some good ones again. And, now second time blinkers, another one of my, angles that I like, second time blinkers. So they all have a shot, but I'm going to think this Chad horse is going to be something special, moving forward and lean my hat on him. So that makes me like 4 straight singles almost in this late sequence.
Yeah, we'll get to those picks in a minute, but I kind of like this horse here. You mentioned this horse, Seuss, I guess that's how I pronounce it, the 8 horse, again, trained by Grand Motion. Finally getting off the rail. This horse, she was on the rail both times out. Last time out, we know how tough that can be for a new horse. Ran pretty well in both of those races, and particularly when she got stretched out from 5.5 furlongs to a mile by her speed figure, jumped up 12 points. And this horse is being trained by one of the best trainers there is, especially for 2-year-olds. So I kind of like that horse. And 7-2 morning line. I guess they have this horse listed as the morning line favorite. Well, the 12, I guess, will be the morning line favorite, but pretty close to favoritism. And I think that's why, because you got the trainer, you got the buyer speed figure jumping up by 12 points. I also kind of like, and again, it's a tough one. There's only 2 first-time starters in here, the 8 and the 7. Libero, trained by Chad Brown, daughter of Justify. He's great with 2-year-olds. Again, going long on turf first time out can be tough, but if there is a first-time start, I might have a chance to do it. I think this horse might be one of those horses, and being ridden by Manny Franco helps the cause. You mentioned Delightful Darling. I looked at that horse at first, and then I agreed with exactly what you said. Had many chances to win as a favorite. put up a decent buyer speed figure last time out, but just still couldn't seal the deal. And again, the jockey change with Dylan Davis being off his mount, so Rivera getting the mount there, John. So I'm going to put up, John, your ticket here, and if you want to show a couple of the races that's scrolling there on the bottom, the races that you chose to put your hat on and how we did that here. And why don't you talk about that, John?
All right. Like I mentioned, I like, 4 horses very strongly. Good thing is none of them are like 4 to 5 morning line favorites that they're going to be singled by every single person. They're probably going to be the favorites, but, looking at the races deep, it's tough to get around them. But I know somewhere along the way, somebody, will get by one of those favorites and you'll be like scratching your head like, oh my God. So I think the way I'm going to attack the late sequence is rolling pick 3s, starting in race 7. Avoid the pick 5, but start race 7 and play my singles along the way, but trying to catch 2 singles out of the 3 races and maybe 1 crazy bomb. So what I'm going to do is go single with the all button. Then I'm going to put the all button in the middle race number 8, and then my single in the 9th. Then I'm going to all the first race, and then my 2 singles in the 8th and 9th. So they're cheap tickets. You can play them for any multiples that you want. I put them up there for $1 amount. But as you can see, the $1 pick 3s, 7, 2, my 2 singles, and the all button. Then 7, all 4, then all 2, 4. So if you catch all 3 of your singles in a row, I'm going to play that for $10 additional because it will be chalky. But if you cold deck a pick 3 for $10, it could be $200 or something. But you're also leaving yourself open for that crazy, 22 to 1 shot or 14 to 1 shot that blows up the pick 3 and could pay $200 with the two chalks surrounding it. Then we're going to do the same thing in race 8, 9, and 10. Do the same thing where my singles move the all button between the other races. And if you get real lucky and catch 4 straight singles, you'll have a $10 straight pick 4 on it. You'll have, $10 pick 3s on both. And you'll have a $1 pick 3s on 3 others. So if it comes in all chalked out, you can make a pay, that. You're also leveraging against something crazy happening in one of the races, but you still need 2 of your 3 singles in either sequence to hit. If you don't hit 2 of your singles, then you're done, and it could be a crazy pick 4, pick 5 payout then. So it's like a $76 investment. Certain wagers you might like better, press it up, play it 2 times, 3 times, 5 times, whatever you feel. But that's how I'm playing the races today, leaning heavily on these singles.
Well, you mentioned in some of our previous podcasts, John, how, when you have an opinion like that and you have some, again, they're not, like you said, they're not chalks like 8 to 5, 4 to 5s coming in at that number. You can still make money if you do what you suggested in the picks that you made. I think that gives our folks an opportunity on a small budget to go ahead and put out some tickets that can bring back a good investment. And that's what we talked about in trying to change it up how we do it here and give you some opportunities. And again, like you said, we're talking about these horses. You might like what we say. You might disagree with what we say. That's what it's all about. Well, that happens every day at the track, John. You know that people at the track are constantly changing their minds, changing their opinions, sharing their opinions. I like this horse. You don't like this horse. And why don't you like him? And why do you like him? That's kind of what we're doing here. Just want to make a quick note, too. If you have the opportunity to read the article that I broke down the races here at Aqueduct, the last 5 races on Florida Sports Talk. Check that out, and you can see both how we talked about the races and the horses in the races and the picks I made. So my picks are scrolling down on the bottom real quick. I did a couple picks in each race. Race 1, I did a double. I went with and again, I didn't put an amount on them because if you want to do it for $2, you can do it for $2. If you want to do it for 20, do it for 20. But I did a daily double starting in race 6 with the 5, 10, 12 over the 7. As John mentioned, the 7 Marlin were all very heavy on that horse. So that's an opportunity to possibly pick up a price in the first race, in that 6th race, which I think there is a chance to get a price, and then followed up with the favorite, the 7. In the 7th race, the marathon race, again, we talked about this on our podcast yesterday on Happy Hour. Betting an exacta with the 7 over the 3, 4, 5. The 3 horses we talked about likely to possibly get a chance to add a price to the 7 as the favorite and make some money. I know, John, we talked about our root order. We know what our root order is, John, 7, 3, 4. That would be the root order we'd be looking for, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep, that's our home run for both wagers.
Okay, well, let's look for that. And then in race 8, the 6.5 furlong allowance race, I'd like to bet across the board, as we mentioned on the number 3, Roofer. Again, his morning line is 8-1, and I think that horse is going to be up 10-12-1 by the time the race is up, because he's run poorly the last few races out. But if he can find the speed he ran about 4 or 5 races back, I think he has a pretty good chance. And then a 10, 11, 12-1, I wouldn't mind putting a few bucks across the board on that horse. Race 9, another stakes race, the Knickerbocker Stake race. I did 2 bets in here. I did an exacta box, which I know some of our handicappers or horse racing friends don't like doing exacta boxes. I think sometimes they can be appropriate. And again, the 3, 4, 6 are the horses that I put in that exacta box. But I really like the 6 horse, as we mentioned, because of the blinkers going on and a couple other areas being trained by Graham Motion. If that horse goes up above 8-1, I wouldn't be at all opposed to putting a little win play show bet on that horse as well. In the last race, I really like the 8 quite a bit. I think that horse is possibly going to run even better now that he's finally stretched out. And I did an exacta with the 8 over the 5, 9, and 12. And I know John loves the 12. I don't disagree with that at all. He was in the 12 post. I didn't like him as much when he got into the 10 post now because of the 2 scratches. That certainly makes it a little more favorable for him and for a jockey like Flavio Brett. So those are just some opportunities, guys, to take a look at, some races that John and I took some time to look at, put together. And as we move forward, we're going to continue to grow. There's very likely a good chance of us having the opportunity for more podcasts out there, some information out there as Capital Sports Network. And our guy, Sean Miller's working extremely hard, John, as you know, to put us out there and get us where we need to be so our people can see us more often, John. I think we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, I think we would like the interaction from anybody watching the podcast. What would they like to see in future episodes? What would they like to see us research and cover? What thoughts would they like to hear from us? Or would they just love us to maybe shut our mouths and not say a word? So any feedback would be good. We would definitely encourage that.
We've heard that before. Yeah, we've heard that before.
We poo-poo it and move on.
No, I think that's a great point. And then the idea is too, as we're going to have opportunities to meet with Sean, who is the brains literally and figuratively behind Capital Sports Network and putting all this together. And he's really working and burning the candle at both ends for sure to keep this thing moving and growing. And he's doing a great job. And we're going to find out how, if a viewer watches the podcast after the fact where it's available on Capital Sports Network, if they have some comments, we're going to find out how we can get our folks to leave those comments to us so we can get an opportunity to respond to them and get back to you and find out what kind of things you'd like to see more of, and what kind of things you'd like to see less of. All those things make a difference. So I think both John and I want to find out what we can do to make our folks enjoy these shows a little more. Because I know, John, you and I really enjoy doing these, and I certainly enjoy sharing thoughts with you, John, over all the things that we do here on Let 'Em Run.
Absolutely. It's a fun time. Love talking about horses to anybody, anytime, anywhere.
I know you do, and you have done that. And I know you have to get back to hanging those Christmas lights up, John, so I'm going to let you go ahead and do your job. And good luck this afternoon. I'm sure we'll chit-chat, ching a little bit later. Let 'em run. Out of boy, John. I love the hat. It looks really good. Maybe not so much on your head, but it looks good in the camera. So,
yep.
All right, John.
Full garb today. Full Let 'Em Run garb. Hang my Christmas lights and then go watch the late 5 at Aqueduct. Good luck, everybody.
All right, John. Thanks, buddy.
All right.